Hello dear students, good morning. Today I will continue the fourth part of Unit 2 solution. After studying this part, you will be able to explain vapor pressure, that is the pressure exerted by vapors of that liquid on the surface in a closed container. Then you will be able to explain vapor pressure of solutions of solid. Solid here should be non-volatile. Solute in the liquid as a solvent. Here two terms came so many times in this chapter, that is volatile and non-volatile. So volatile means tendency to form vapor, that is those substances which want to come in the form of vapor are known as volatile. Some common examples are water, alcohol, petrol, diesel, etc. And non-volatile means they do not have tendency to form vapor. The common examples are sugar, urea, glucose, etc. Common salt. Then you will be able to state and explain Raoult's law. The vapor pressure of liquid solution. Here liquid is solute and liquid is solvent. Solute may be volatile or non-volatile. Now, before starting the vapor pressure, just I want to recall you about the evaporation. As you know that evaporation is the surface phenomenon, that is the molecules get evaporated which are on the surface, and the reason for escaping this surface molecule is less force of attraction than other molecules in the bulk and more kinetic energy. That's why when they are heated, they escape easily. Second thing, you have to know about the vapor pressure. This can be calculated in a closed container, because in open container vapors are escaped to the environment, that is at atmosphere. That's why the vapor pressure we cannot calculate in the open container, but in closed container. One more thing we have to know about, we learn about equilibrium in class 11th unit 7. Equilibrium always measure in closed container. Here also vapor and liquid are come in the equilibrium. That's why vapor pressure you can be calculate in the closed container. Now focus on the vapor pressure. As the name indicates, the pressure exerted by vapor on their surface. So it can be defined as, in case of pure liquid, it is the pressure exerted by vapors of liquid over the surface of liquid when the vapor and liquid are in the equilibrium at a given temperature. That is, evaporation is equal to condensation. It increases with temperature just like evaporation. Now we have to know about the which factor affect vapor pressure. The factor affecting vapor pressure. First, nature of liquid. That is nature of solute or nature of solvent. The vapor pressure is inversely proportional to intermolecular force of attraction. That is, more the intermolecular force of attraction, less will be the vapor, and hence less will be the vapor pressure. Now look the graph drawn between vapor pressure and temperature of some molecules. That molecules are water, formula H2O, molar mass 18 gram per mole, ethyl alcohol C2H5OH, acetone CS3 CO CS3, and diethyl ether formula C2H5O C2H5. Now again here the role of chemical bonding chapter. By studying this chapter, we know that the water has H bonding, which are stronger than dipole-dipole interactions and van der Waals interaction. Ethyl alcohols also have H bonding, but less than water due to presence of more carbon here. The polarity of OH bond is less. That's why the ethyl alcohol have less H bonding. Acetone, due to presence of CO, it have difference in electronegativity. The acetone is polar molecule and hence have dipole-dipole interaction. Diethyl ether also a polar molecule but polarity less than acetone. So now come again on the graph. More the temperature, less will be the vapor pressure of water. Show that the water have more force of interaction. Another factor, temperature. Just like evaporation, more the temperature, more will be the evaporation. Here also, more the temperature, more will be the vapor pressure. Now, we have to talk about the vapor pressure of solution of solid in liquid. Here the solid is non-volatile. That means solid have no vapor pressure. So the decrease in vapor pressure of solvent depend upon the quantity of volatile solute. The common volatile, non-volatile solute are glucose, urea and cane sugar. The formula glucose is H12, O6, urea NH2, CO NH2, and cane sugar, that is also known as sucrose or home sugar, table sugar, C12, H22, O11 in water, and iodine, sulfur dissolve in carbon disulfide CS2. Here the solvent is water or it may be carbon disulfide, and non-volatile solutes are urea, cane sugar, glucose, sulfur, iodine present in the solution irrespective of its nature. That means either you take urea or glucose, this not depend upon which type of chemical you have taken. This only depend upon the quantity of solute you have taken. To explain this, example is given. For example, decrease in vapor pressure of water by adding 1.0 mole of sucrose to 1 kg of water is nearly similar to that produced by adding 1 mole of urea to the same quantity of water at the same temperature. To focus on the examples, the amount of water is same and amount of solute are also same. That's why they have same vapor pressure. It does not depend which type of molecules you have taken, either urea or sucrose. So this indicate that the vapor pressure is only depend upon the quantity but not its nature. Now again focus the diagram given here. The diagram A show the pure solvent and diagram B show the solution with non-volatile solute. To look the diagram properly, in case of pure solvent, the large number of solvent particles in the vapor phase, but in case of solution, look the diagram, the surface molecules are covered by some solute particles that decreases the surface area of water molecules, and that's why the escaping tendency of these solvent molecules or water molecules decreases, and hence a small number of solvent particles in the vapor phase is seen in the diagram. That is, more the surface particles of solute, less will be the vapor of solvent molecule. That's why on adding non-volatile solute, the boiling point of solvent increases. Now some questions based on vapor pressure. Question number 1. Explain why on addition of 1 mole of NaCl to 1 liter of water, the boiling point of water increases, while the addition of 1 mole of methyl alcohol to 1 liter of water decreases its boiling point. As you know that NaCl is a non-volatile component, but methyl alcohol is a volatile component. Now the answer is NaCl is non-volatile solute. Therefore, addition of NaCl to the water lowers the vapor pressure of water. As you know that the NaCl occupy some space on the surface of water in place of water surface. As a result, boiling point of water increases. That means to boil the water, now more vapor have to generated at high temperature. Then methyl alcohol on the other hand is more volatile than water. Therefore, its addition increases the total vapor pressure over the solution and hence a decrease in boiling point of water result. This type of questions you have to solve like this. Question second, name two ways by which vapor pressure of liquid can be lowered. So again see the answer. The two ways by which vapor pressure can be lowered are: first, by decreasing the temperature. As you know that the temperature directly proportional to vapor pressure. Second, by adding a non-volatile solute. More the non-volatile solute, less will be the surface of solvent molecules. That's why less will be the vapor pressure. Now we have to focus on Raoult's law. In Raoult's law, liquid is solute and liquid is solvent. Solute may be volatile or non-volatile. So first of all, I have to discuss about the volatile solute in volatile solvent. According to Raoult's law, it is stated that for a solution of volatile liquids, the partial vapor pressure of each component of the solution is directly proportional to its mole fraction present in the solution. Here, one more thing you have to know in the NCERT. One is used for solvent and two is used for solute. That means if W1 is written, M1 is written or P1 is written, so here 1 means solvent. If W2 is written, M2 is written or P2 is written, so that means solute. So this you have to learn. So now for component 1, P1 directly proportional to X1. As you know that the container contain two components, so that's why the number of mole of one component depend upon the total number of mole of components. That's why the pressure depend upon the fractions of these moles, hence they are proportional to mole fraction. And I have told you in the previous lecture कि mole fraction equal to number of mole of that component divided by total number of mole of all components. So for component 1, P1 directly proportional to X1 and that is P1 equal to P01 X1, where not indicate the pure state, standard state. Now P01 is vapor pressure of pure component 1 when no solute is added to this at the same temperature. Similarly, for the component 2, P2 directly proportional to X2 and P2 equal to P02 X2, Here P2 is partial pressure of component 2 and P02 represent the vapor pressure of pure component 2 when no solute is added to this. Now you learn in gas state of class 11th according to Dalton's law of partial pressure, the total pressure is equal to sum of the partial pressure of non-reacting gas. That's why here also be applying the Dalton's law of partial pressure. The total pressure is equal to sum of the partial pressure, that is P total equal to P1 plus P2. In this chapter we have generally focused on the binary components, that is solution contain two components. That's why the total pressure is equal to P1 plus P2. And as you know that P1 equal to P01 x1 plus P2 equal to P02 x2. This formula can be also written in the term of only x2 like this: P total equal to P01 plus P02 minus P1 x2. Now look the diagram. The graph drawn between vapor pressure and mole fraction. X1 equal to 1 and x2 equal to 0, and then after x1 equal to 1 and x2 equal to 1. So the graph drawn between the vapor pressure and x2. Here P total is not originate here P total have intercept. If you think about the graph of y equal to mx plus c, and if we draw the graph between the P total and x2, so think about this: y equal to c plus mx. Here y equal to P total and x equal to x2 and m equal to slope, that is P02 minus P01, and P01 is the intercept. So that graph of P total is do not pass through the origin. But if we draw the graph of P1 and x1, so this is equal to y equal to mx, that is no intercept are there. That's why P1 is directly proportional to x1 and the graph pass through the origin. Now after studying the graph, following conclusions can be drawn from the above equations. First, the total vapor pressure over the solution can be related to the mole fraction of any one component, either x1 or x2. Second conclusions, total vapor pressure over the solution varies linearly with the mole fraction of component 2, that is x2. This show by the straight line graph. Third, depending on the total vapor pressure of pure component 1 and 2, total vapor pressure over the solution decreases or increases with the increase of mole fraction of component 1. So these points can you have to know. from the above equations. Now, the composition of vapor phase in the equilibrium with the solution is determined by partial pressure of the component. If the Y1 and Y2 are the mole fraction of the component 1 and 2 respectively in the vapor phase, then using the Dalton's law of partial pressure, this formula you can use when the mole fraction is asking in the vapor phase. In case of gas only, P1 equal to Y1 P total. This formula came from Dalton's law of partial pressure, which we have studied in class 11, chapter 5 gaseous state, or Y1 equal to P1 plus P total, and you know that P1 total equal to P1 plus P2. Similarly, the partial pressure of P2 is equal to partial pressure of component 2 in vapor phase is equal to mole fraction of component 2 in vapor phase and P total, or Y2 equal to P total divided by P1 plus P2. As you know that total number of mole fractions should be 1. That's why here also Y1 plus Y2 is equal to 1 for a binary solution. For ternary solution, it should be Y1 plus Y2 plus Y3 equal to 1. In general, we can write the formula in vapor phase Pi equal to Yi P total. This formula you have to also learn to solve numericals. Now, Raoult's law when the solute is non-volatile. As I have told you, non-volatile means no vapor. That's why here P2 equal to 0. So then according to Raoult's law, the partial pressure only depend upon the mole fraction of 1, and hence only one pressure be found here, P1 equal to x1 P naught 1. The proportionality constant is equal to vapor pressure of pure solvent, that is P naught 1. So look the diagram again. Vapor pressure and mole fraction of solvent. Here no solutes are there. So this graph is a straight line passing through the origin. Now Raoult's law in its general form. If nothing is given, if the components are volatile or non-volatile, in that condition you can state that for any solution the partial vapor pressure of each volatile component in the solution is directly proportional to its mole fraction, that is Pi equal to Xi P naught I. So this is a general form of Raoult's law. So three forms of Raoult's law you have to know. If both components are volatile, if only solvent is volatile, and in its general form. So these three laws you have to learn, understand properly, go through the NCERT book also. Now some questions based on Raoult's law. So one numerical here. Vapor pressure of chloroform formula CHCl3 and dichloromethane CH2Cl2 at 298 Kelvin or 200 millimeter Hg and 415 mm Hg respectively. So these are basically the vapor pressure of pure chloroform and pure dichloromethane. Now calculate vapor pressure of solution prepared by mixing 25.5 gram of chloroform and 40 gram of CH2Cl2 at 298 Kelvin. Here mass of two components is given, and also you have to find the mole fraction of each component in vapor phase, that is Y1 and Y2. Now solution. First of all, we have to calculate the molar mass. Calculation of molar mass you also study in chapter 1 in class 11th. Molar mass of CH2Cl2 equal to mass of carbon multiplied by number of carbon atom plus mass of hydrogen multiplied by number of hydrogen atom plus 35.5 mass of Cl multiplied by number of Cl. By this way, we got the molar mass of CH2Cl2 85 gram per mole. Similarly, molar mass of chloroform, we got the molar mass of chloroform 119.5 gram per mole. Now we have to calculate the mole of dichloromethane. The mass of methane given 40 and the molar mass is 85 gram per mole. As you know that the moles equal to given mass divided by molar mass. After calculating, we get the moles of dichloromethane is 0.47. Similarly, the moles of chloroform is 25.5 gram mass divided by 119.5 gram per mole molar mass. This will give 0.213 mole. Now the total number of mole is 0.47 plus 0.213. This equal to 0.83 mole. Now we have to calculate the mole fraction. X CH2Cl2 equal to mole of dichloromethane divided by total number of mole. This will gives 0.688. Similarly, calculate the mole fraction of chloroform either by calculating number of mole divided by total number of mole. Either I have told you X equal to 1 minus XB. Here 1.00 minus 0.688. This will gives 0.312. Now we find the mole fraction of both component. Now we know that P total equal to P01 plus P02 minus P01 X2 from Raoult's law. Putting the value of P01, P02 and X2, we find the answer 347.9 mmHg. By this way, we calculate the vapor pressure of solution, that is total vapor pressure. Now, using the relation Y1 equal to Yi equal to Pi by P total, we can calculate the mole fraction of component in vapor phase or gas phase. So here P of dichloromethane equal to P01 X1. Here X1 equal to 0.688 and the pure vapor pressure of dichloromethane is 415 mmHg. This is given. After multiplying, we get PCH2Cl2 285.5 mmHg. Similarly, we can calculate the partial pressure of chloroform. Now, putting this partial pressure in the formula, Y equal to P partial pressure divided by P total pressure. So Y CH2Cl2 equal to the partial pressure is 285.5 and total pressure is 347.9. We get 0.82. Now Similarly, the vapor phase mole fraction of chloroform equal to the partial pressure of chloroform divided by total vapor pressure. This will give 0.18. Now, after solving this, we get one more information. कि more the mole fraction, more will be the vapors. That means here dichloromethane is more volatile than chloroform. Question number second. State Raoult's law for a solution containing volatile components. Write two characteristics of solution which will be Raoult's law at all concentration. So the statement I have told you, but again in the form of solution given here. For a solution of volatile liquids, here components are volatiles. The partial vapor pressure of each component of the solution is directly proportional to its mole fraction present in the solution. This is the statement of Raoult's law. Now second question, write two characteristics. So for solution which will be Raoult's law, delta mix H equal to 0. Here delta means change, mix means mixture solution, H equal to enthalpy should be 0, delta mix B should be 0. Third, the components have nearly same or similar intermolecular forces of attraction. So these conditions show that the solution obeys Raoult's law at all concentration. Third, state Raoult's law for volatile solute and for non-volatile solute. So solution P total equal to P1 plus P2. Here both are volatiles, that's why both have pressure. And for non-volatile solute, the P solution, basically P solvent, is equal to only mole fraction of component 1 and their pressure in the pure component. Now some questions you can do yourself, that is the self-assessment questions. Illustration number 1, state Raoult's law for solution containing volatile components and what is the similarity between Raoult's law and Henry's law. Henry's law is the concept for gas in liquid and Raoult's law is the concept of liquid in liquid. Second, state Raoult's law for a solution containing volatile components and name the solution which follow Raoult's law at all concentration and temperature. That solution is known as ideal solution, and the condition for ideal solution, delta mix H equal to 0, delta mix V equal to 0. Third, state Raoult's law, how it is formulated for solution of non-volatile solute. So these questions you can do by yourself after learning the concept of Raoult's law from this lecture and also from the NCERT book. Stay home, stay healthy and keep learning. Thank you. Have a nice day.